The Illyri discover bio-seeded saplings spreading in the heart of the prismatic forests. Though beautiful, these saplings disrupt the delicate balance of the ecosystem. The Illyri send emissaries to Tashilian to demand an explanation. Sayora dismisses the Illyri's concerns, claiming the saplings are part of Tashilion's agricultural expansion. Privately, Sayora orders his zealots to increase bioseeding efforts, aiming to secure access to Cerelus's nutrient-rich lakes for his planet's dwindling resources. To mediate, Kelvash of Aketra offers his services as a neutral party, proposing a summit on Cerelus. However, Kelvash secretly manipulates both sides, feeding misinformation to escalate tensions. The shimmering lakes of Cerelus ripple under the light of twin moons. Illyri's sentinels glide through the air, their luminous wings casting soft glows over the waters below. The air hums with tension as invasive tertiary saplings spread across the prismatic forests. Scene 1. The summit begins. In the Illyri High Council chamber, a floating crystalline dome above the prismatic waters, Zanuria presides over a tense diplomatic meeting. Across from him, Sayora sits with cold confidence. Kelvash stands nearby, feigning neutrality, while Ruvanan listens in silence. Zanuria, calm, diplomatic.
These waters have pulsed with life for millennia, untouched by forceful hands. Yet without our consent, your bioseeding vessels have disrupted this balance, Sayora. I request, no, I implore you, cease this encroachment.
Sayora, cool, measured.
Implore? You speak as if I have done you a great injustice, Zanuria. I see a mutual opportunity. Your lakes, rich with nutrients, could bring prosperity to us both. Why cling to outdated notions of isolation?
Zanuria, firm but pleading.
Because harmony is not merely survival, it is preservation, balance. What you call prosperity, I call trespass.
Kelvash, interjecting smooth as silk.
Surely an agreement can be reached. Perhaps a limited agricultural exchange, a diplomatic delegation from Tashilian to oversee sustainable seeding.
Sayora, leaning forward, intrigued but unreadable.
A tempting thought, mediator. But my people will not wait for endless deliberations while Cerelus thrives and Tashilian's waters run dry.
Zanuria studies Sayora's face. He does not seek compromise, only control. Ruvanin watches Kelvash closely, suspicion flickering in his gaze. Ruvanin, gravely skeptical.
And yet these saplings were not planted with negotiation. They were forced upon these waters. That alone speaks volumes of intent.
Silence. A moment of realization. There was never meant to be an agreement. The seeds were planted long before this meeting. When the Illyri's peaceful protests are ignored, Zanuria authorizes a covert operation to remove the invasive saplings. Illyri agents infiltrate Tashori supply ships, destroying bioseeding equipment. In retaliation, Tashori zealots sabotage Illyri irrigation systems, blaming rogue factions within their ranks. Ruvanin, who was hired by Zanuria to assess the ecological damage, uncovers inconsistencies in the sabotage reports. He suspects Kelvash but lacks proof. Kelvash, meanwhile, stokes the flames further by leaking falsified communications to both sides, making it appear as though each is planning a preemptive strike. The Illyri, realizing diplomacy has failed, takes action. In the dead of night, their operatives strike at Tashori supply vessels, uprooting invasive saplings. The retaliation is swift and brutal. Scene 2. The breaking point. A fiery explosion blooms across the night sky as Tashori zealots sabotage Illyri irrigation channels. Zanuria stands on the edge of a ruined biofiltration array, his hands clenched. Ruvanin approaches, his voice low, urgent. Ruvanin, suspicious, wary.
This sabotage, it reeks of orchestration, but not from the Illyri, not from the Tashori. There's a third hand in this, unseen.
Zanuria, sharply turning to him.
Speak plainly.
Ruvanan, measured, reluctant.
Kelvash, I have cross-referenced the frequency of the disruption signals with encrypted transmissions. He is feeding both sides false intelligence. He wants this war.
Zanuria breathes in, measured anger rising.
For what purpose?
Ruvanan, darkly.
Profit. If Sorellus falls, if Tashilian drains itself, who benefits? Akatra, Kelvash's people. The ones who sell purification technologies and resource reclamation solutions to the desperate.
A pause. A slow, horrible realization sets in. Zanuria, voice tight with fury.
He plays us like puppets.
As tensions reach their peak, a Tashori vessel is destroyed near the Sorellus border. Seora accuses the Ailiri of aggression and declares the prismatic forests an agricultural zone under Tashori control. Zanuria, still clinging to diplomacy, calls for an emergency council. However, hardliners within the Illyri leadership demand immediate retaliation. During the summit, Kelvash's duplicity is exposed when Ravanan intercepts a transmission revealing his involvement. Enraged, Seora orders his forces to detain Kelvash, but he escapes to Aketra, leaving both sides on the brink of war. A Tashori vessel is destroyed near the Sorellus border. Tashilian accuses the Illyri of aggression. War is inevitable. Seora's forces declare the prismatic forests a Tashori agricultural zone, a direct act of war. Scene 3. The last attempt at peace. The Grand Summit, meant to prevent war, is held in the ruined council chamber. Flames burn in the distance. Kelvash stands, knowing his deception is unraveling. Ruvanan steps forward, a holotransmitter in his palm. Ruvanin, loud, exposing Kelvash's lies.
This is a transmission intercepted from Kelvash. Listen.
Kelvash's voice crackles through the chamber, filled with falsehoods, inciting both sides toward war. Seora, eyes narrowing, fury evident.
You manipulated me.
Kelvash, feigning innocence, then smirking.
Come now, Seora. I only accelerated what was inevitable.
Seora lunges, but Kelvash, always one step ahead, vanishes in a flash of displacement energy, escaping to Aketra. Zanuria, torn, voice heavy with sorrow.
And now there is no stopping this.
Tashori fleets descend on Sorellus's lakes, deploying bioseeding drones en masse. The Ailiri respond with precision strikes, using their mastery of the environment to sabotage Tashori operations. The conflict spills into the heart of the prismatic forests, with fires igniting due to the clashes. Zanuria reluctantly takes up arms, leading his people in a desperate defense. Seora, witnessing the destruction wrought by his zealots, begins to question his methods. However, it is too late to halt the conflict. Tashori fleets descend upon Sorellus. The Ailiri, masters of the environment, fight back with precision strikes. Fires ignite in the heart of the prismatic forests. Scene 4. A leader's breaking point. On the battlefield, Zanuria stands amid the ruins of his sacred home. Seora, standing across from him, watches the destruction with hollow eyes. Zanuria, voice breaking, despairing.
Look at what we have done.
Seora, cold but regretful.
We are past words, Zanuria.
Zanuria, quietly, gripping a blade for the first time in his life.
Then let us end it.
The final battle begins.
Scene 5. The price of expansion. The siege ends in a fragile stalemate as both sides suffer massive ecological and cultural losses. The prismatic forests are scarred, and Tashilian's wetlands face drought due to the overextension of their resources. Kelvash, having fled to Aketra, profits from the chaos, selling water purification technology to both planets. Ruvanin, disillusioned, returns to Dromazjon, vowing to expose the broader galactic powers that benefit from such conflicts. Zenuria and Sayora agree to a ceasefire, but their people remain deeply distrustful. The Illyri begin the long process of restoring their forests, while Tashilian faces internal dissent over Sayora's leadership. The siege ends in a fragile stalemate. The prismatic forests are scarred, and Tashilian's wetlands are facing drought. The war gained nothing, only loss.
Jovask, in a somber report to the Galactic Council. The war has ended. The damage is permanent. The distrust, unshakable.
Kelvash, having fled to Akatra, profits from the chaos, selling purification technology to both planets. Ruvanin, disillusioned, leaves, vowing to expose the wider corruption at play.
Zenuria, in a ruined sanctuary, staring at the ashes of his home. We will rebuild, but we will never forget.
And so, the war ends, but the scars remain. The battle for Sorellis may be over, but the galaxy is still burning.